So I'll just continue from there. Because the line, all this, we were talking about the different incarnations, and all are actually incarnation or expansion or partial expansion of the Lord. But Krishna is the God himself. Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. So that was our yesterday's discussion. Continuing from there, the Prabhupada further writing there in the purport that there are in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expressed his surprise with the word Kutaha. From where? It's like very surprising. Krishna is saying, from where you are thinking? How come this is happening? Huh? Where from this impurities has come upon you? Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. Aryans means actually the civilized men. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have civilities based on spiritual realization. This is the word meaning of word Aryan. Okay, people who know the value of life, that means life, human life, is meant for Krishna consciousness, to surrender to Krishna and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. The person who are led by the, so some people may think that Aryans have come from somewhere else. Here an Aryan invasion theory and lot of all is fake. Okay, so Aryans were here, and actually the Vedic culture, the people were called Aryans, Kshatriyas, kings, devotees. They will be called as Arya, like Arya Putra, Aryan, like that. Okay, and that's why Krishna is saying here to Arjuna, Anarya, you are talking like a uncivilized man. So basically, they are called Arya. The reason between this, the area which is covered nearby the Ganga and Yamuna river, and this Haryana, Punjab, all this area is called Aryan region. Okay, the southern part of India at present, that is called Dravid Pradesh. Okay, so persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagwan, and they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. So you can note down this. Aryan, who are non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of the spiritual life, nor does it even give one opportunity to become famous in this world. Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for kinsmen. So Krishna is basically not very happy by seeing Arjuna in this way. That's the idea. Okay, because Arjuna is a Kshatriya, he is from Aryan family, he is supposed to fight here. But he is talking something which is befitting to non-Aryans. So Krishna is telling him, Anarya, from where this thing has come from you. Okay. So non-Arya or Kashmalam means implies, and this is impurities from where from Kudaha. Okay, so now further he will explain. So this 2.2 and 2.3, basically this is the response of from Krishna seeing Arjuna's lamentation. 2.3, this is a quite a famous sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, why famous? Because this was in our school days, in our syllabus. So I know it from my child days. So that's why I think it is very famous. क्लैब्यम्मास्मगमपार्थ नेतद्यपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं तप्तो उत्तिष्ठ परन्तप. O son of Pratha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness, Shudram Hridaya Daurabalyam. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna was addressed as the son of Pratha. Path means son of Pratha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father, Vasudev. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. Naam ka Kshatriya. And if the son of a Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. These kind of Kshatriyas who do not like to fight, who are coward, and Brahmanas who act improperly, impiously, these kind of people, these kind of Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy son of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna, because he is Kshatriya, it doesn't suit to him. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectful Bhishma and his relative, but Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. It's just out of Kshutra Mirdya Dharma, it is out of your weakness of your heart you're talking about. You're not talking about the based of the love for the Lord, you're talking about based on the your weakness of your heart. Such false magnanimity. This is Krishna saying false magnanimity. So such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. So always there should be guidance. One should not decide himself. Okay. So in this 2.2 and 2.3, first it is explained the importance of Krishna being first part was explained that why Krishna is being addressed as Sri Bhagavan, Bhagavan Vacha. So Sri Bhagavan, so that reference we have seen that why Krishna is being referred here as Bhagavan. So in that main part was like three phases of absolute truth, Brahman, Paramatman, Bhagavan we discussed, and then we also discussed the Parashar Muni definition that six opulences are there in Bhagavan Krishna in full entirely. Okay, and only bhaktas, devotees of Krishna or bhaktas only can realize the highest realization, that is Bhagavan realization of the Krishna or the God or the Supreme Absolute Truth, and the analogical statement of sun. Okay, sun planet and sun rays like that. Okay, and then we also seen two references from Brahma Samhita 1 and one from Srimad Bhagavatam 128, and Krishna is Bhagavan Swam and Ishvara Parama Krishna, referring to Krishna's supremacy. Then we have seen the definition of Aryan. Definition of Aryan means civilized class of men. Arya means civilized class of men. One, two characteristics. One, first is that he knows what is the value of life. To serve Krishna, and self-realization, and the Aryan civilization is actually based on this only spiritual realization. That is the second characteristic. And who are non-Aryans? Non-Aryans are that they don't know the aim of life is surrender to Vishnu Krishna. They don't know what is liberation, and they don't know mukti, liberation from material bondage. Okay. So non-Aryans' conception of life is led by material conception of life, captivated by the external features of the material world. Example of non-Aryan act are Arjuna. Now, although being a Kshatriya, is deviating from prescribed duties. What is his prescribed duties? To fight. But he is saying, I will not fight. That means he don't know what is his duty, and that's why it's called here as non-Aryan. So if somebody act on the path of non-Aryans, they will get infamy. There won't be any progress in their spiritual path. Okay, and material path also there won't be any progress. Okay, then Krishna used the word kashmalam, this impurities. So Krishna is expressing his surprise by the word kutaha. Okay, that means where from. So because Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was personally present, he was there. So Krishna is saying, Arey Baba, in front of me only you are talking like this. So such lamentation is unexpected. When I am there with you, God is there, but still you are getting such kind of lamentation. So that's why Krishna is surprised. From where you are getting all this idea? Eh? I am here. You should get all the good ideas. So, and then Arjuna, another surprise is, first surprise because I am here and still you are talking like this. Second surprise is that you are already an Aryan family member. You are an Arya, a member of a civilized class, civilized family. Therefore, you should not get such kind of lamentation, such kind of out of this lamentation is out of ignorance. Okay, out of your weakness of your heart. So what is this? So being Aryan, you are getting such kind of doubt. And second reason, I am here present, but in front of me you are talking like this. So because of these two things, Krishna is very much surprised. Kutaha. Then impotent, he's calling him impotent. Plebeian. Why? Because as a son of a Kshatriya, because he's giving the connection. You are not a normal person, you are son of Prtha. So you are also connected with me. So as a son of a Kshatriya or the son of Prtha, he is not expected to avoid fighting. Arjuna is not expected to avoid fighting. Otherwise, he is acting as an unworthy son. So he's telling, Array, you see, you are from from Pratha's dynasty. So at least look at your parents or forefathers' name, mother name will be spoiled. So you should not act like this. And Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. So thus he is not at all expected to withdraw from the battlefield. These kind of things are not at all expected from Arjuna. Hriday Daurvalyam, weakness of heart. So that refers to false magnanimity, as Prabhupada wrote in his purport, that false magnanimity shown to Bhishma and Drona, which Arjuna uses as a justification point to avoid the battle. So just to avoid the battle, he is using Bhishma and Arjuna. Okay. So now why Krishna is calling Arjuna as Parth, Pratha's son? So this is indicating the Arjuna's parent is that he is a son of Kshatriya parents. Pratha is his mother, Kunti. Sorry, Pratha is Kunti. So she's also Kshatrani. So Parth is also indicating that he has a blood relation with Krishna. Okay, so these indications are there. Krishna is saying you are when you are related to me. So for our whole dynasty, whole family, this is a not good situation that you are acting like a non-Aryan. Okay, so in this way, Krishna is saying. Okay, now for this shloka, Arjuna vacha katham bhishmam sanke dronam cha madhusudana ishubi pratiyotsyami pujarha varisudana. So Arjuna said, in for the shloka, Arjuna is speaking. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, Arisudana, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Are this is my teacher, this is my grandfather. I must worship them, but here I am in situation to fight with them and I have to kill them and I have to throw my arrows upon them. What is this? I have to counteract them with uh, sending piercing arrows. Respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Prabhupada is writing that. Even if they attack, they should not be counterattacked. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight, even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior. They should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather Ugrasena or his teacher Sandeepni Muni? These are some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna. Okay. So Arjuna is in this fourth shloka, some argument like Arjuna's mind while speaking this. What is going on in Arjuna's mind? So he's saying superiors are there and they are always respectable. Superiors should never be fought, should never be counter-attacked, and they are always worshipable like that. And it is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered a verbal fight even if sometimes they are harsh in behavior. One should be humble. So Arjuna is putting this point here. And then Arjuna also kind of challenging Krishna. So he is saying that, "Go Krishna, will you kill your grandfather Ugrasen or your teacher Sandeep Muni?" So like that. Will you do that? No, no. So like that kind of conversation going on. Guru hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum gachyampi haloke hatva artha kamastu purani yaiva punjiya bhogan rudir pradigdhan. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the life of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. Even though they are desiring worldly gain, but they are superior. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. According to scriptural quotes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Okay, so teachers and grandfather, okay, superiors, they are supposed to be respected, but when they go against Krishna, and should be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance. Although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial consideration, under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. Okay, but Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy a spoil stinted with blood. Okay, so here in this shloka number 5, now again two kind of dharma. One is dharma shastra reference, one is artha shastra. Although Arthashastra means rules of politics and sociology, recommends killing of such aggressors. Okay, Arjuna gives more weight to Dharma Shastra, religious principle which promotes forgiveness. As per Arthashastra, if somebody is doing like this, then kill them. But as per Dharma Shastra, superior should be uh, given respect and one should promote forgiveness. Okay, so scriptural course recommendation on killing such teachers and relatives as given in the purport. So a teacher is fit to be abandoned if he engages in abominable action. Number one. Number two, has lost his sense of discrimination. For example, a Bhishma and Drona taking the side of Duryodhana because of his finances. They are not saying Krishna is which side. Because of financial assistance, they are taking side of Adharma. So there is no sense of discrimination. But Arjuna still prefer forgiveness because of the unique kind of aggressors, seniors and relatives, teachers, grandfather, etc. Okay, so in this way, Arjuna is now trying to. Okay, so sixth shloka also we shall do today, and then seventh is important tomorrow. Na chetadvidma kataranno gariyo yadva jayema yadiva na no jayeyu yaneva hatva na jijivisham devastha pramukhe dharta rashtra, nor do we know which is better. This is the sixth, this is the fifth argument. Okay, I said now Arjuna presented fifth argument, five arguments. Four was explained in the first chapter. Second chapter 2.6 is talking about his fifth argument. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. We don't know what is better situation for us. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. So Arjuna is this fifth argument is indecision. He don't know what to do. So Arjuna did not know whether he should fight or risk unnecessary violence, although fighting is the duty of the Kshatriyas, or whether he should refrain and live by begging. If he did not conquer the enemy, begging would be his only means of subsistence. Nor was there certainty of victory, because either side might emerge victorious. Still, if the sons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, it would be very difficult to live in their absence. Under the circumstances, that would be another kind of defeat for them. No relatives. So all these considerations by Arjuna definitely prove that not only was he a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. Okay, so his desire to live by begging, although he was born in the royal household, is another sign of detachment. He was truly virtuous, as these qualities combined with his faith in the words of instruction of Sri Krishna, his spiritual master. So indicate how Krishna is indicating. So he is acting like that. It is so he was truly virtuous, as these qualities combined with his faith in the words of instruction of Sri Krishna indicate. It is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of kingdom, platform of knowledge. And without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. Arjuna was competent in all these attributes, over and above his enormous attributes in his material happiness, material relationship. Okay, so basically this is indecision. Arjuna is confused whether to fight or not to fight. So Arjuna is confused and indecisive based on the 2 points. One is if he fights, he may win. If he fights, number one, he may win. Still, he will not be able to enjoy without his relative. That he explained in the first chapter 31 to 35 shloka. And second thing, he may not emerge. First of all, if he fight, 2 points. If he fights, then 1. If he wins, he won't be able to enjoy. Why? Because there is no relative and friend. Second, if he may not be victorious only, if he may not emerge victorious in spite of so much bloodshed, no enjoyment guaranteed there also. Number 2, if he does not fight, begging will be his only means of subsistence. Then he have to beg only, jungle. And for a Kshatriya, it is very difficult, and therefore no enjoyment. Kshatriya cannot go begging and all. It's very difficult for them because that doesn't suit their nature and their guna. Okay, so now 2.426 consideration by Arjuna prove Arjuna's following virtuous qualities. He was a very, what are the qualities of Arjuna are proved in this 2-3 slokas. First one, he was a great devotee of the Lord, he was highly enlightened, and he was complete control of mind and senses, and he has a desire to live by begging, a sign of detachment, and also strong faith in Krishna's instruction. His spiritual was very strong faith. So conclusion is that these qualities make Arjuna quite fit for liberation. What is the qualification for liberation? Controlled senses, knowledge, and devotion. Unless senses are controlled, no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. Without knowledge and devotion, no chance of liberation. Okay. So here this section ends, and from 2.7, Arjuna will surrender and accept Krishna as Guru. No more friendship, no more relationship. Only one relationship, Guru and disciple. Okay. Thank you so much. Any question? Okay, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.